For more insight, we welcome retired Colonel Miri Eisin, the director at the International Institute for Counter-Terrorism at Reichman University. Good to see you. Good morning to you. Thank you for being with us again.
Always, Benita.
The IDF Chief of Staff, Herzi Halevi, and the Shin Bet Security Agency head, Ronen Bar, entered the Gaza Strip together. We heard just moments ago the message being sent from Herzi Halevi, conducting that assessment of the situation. Talk us through the significance of these top security leaders being able to go into Gaza, supporting troops on the ground and sending messages like they did.
Benita, as I watched both the footage, as I watched it yesterday, I, as an Israeli in its own way, to me, that's what, when we're talking about the moral of a country, when we're talking about the ethics of a military, it's when the two top people who are both responsible for what happened on October 7th and have said that are the ones who have gone into the Gaza Strip to be at the forefront of that fighting. They have gone in to talk with the soldiers who are fighting, to give them a clear idea of their mission, to talk them through what they are going to need to do in the upcoming stages, to do so calmly, carefully, because in leadership, we are the ones who are, they're the ones who are defending us, they are leading us, and they don't do it from behind, they do it from the front. They go in and they talk with them. And I just think that that shows the ethics, the morals, the ideals of the state of Israel, of the security establishment in the most profound way.
And talking about the ethics and the morals involved here, obviously repeated reports about the way troops are targeting terror tunnels, but it is well known that those tunnels are underneath civilian structures, including hospitals, including schools, including obviously residential buildings. Talk us through the care that needs to be taken right now as this operation continues. It's nearly 5 weeks in, and the care that needs to be taken to make sure that the Hamas terror leadership is targeted and that civilians are spared.
When we look at what Israel is doing and has been doing for over 2 weeks in that sense on the ground, it's that going in with the soldiers, with the units. When we say the soldiers, it's a combination of units. To be able to detect the hundreds, and Ariel really presented that so clearly before, to get to the different openings of the tunnels, because that's where you can get in. You have to go into the Gaza Strip. This isn't something that was built into buildings, under schools, as you said before, under mosques, under hospitals. We're not attacking the hospitals. We all know that, but we are encircling them because underneath them are headquarters, not just any tunnels. But to be able to get in to the entrances to the tunnel system, it's not individual tunnels. You want to be able to get into that system. You need to go in, get to the buildings, get to the schools, get to the mosques, and from there, both try to explode the tunnel from the outside, that's from those openings, and with the combination use, with artillery, with the Air Force, to continue to attack those places. So that's the combination of slowly doing that. In a sense, as we said, we're encircling. It doesn't mean that we have more forces on the ground. They are very focused. They're working systematically, blowing those tunnels up. The tunnels are built in such a way that when they implode, and I think, again, Ariel talked about that before, you have the initial explosion, which is the entrance to the tunnel. And then you're going to see a secondary explosion, which is when the tunnel implodes, it caves in. And when that happens, the way that it's built, under the refugee camp, underneath all of the different neighborhoods, you're going to see the collapsing of structures. In some of the cases, the Air Force is targeting the entrance to the tunnel through a building. So they're going to target a building, and then you're going to see a secondary explosion, which is going to be the implosion of that tunnel and the collapsing of structures nearby. But that's what Hamas built. They built this structure into the buildings and under the buildings.
Complicated indeed. We obviously will be following to see exactly how that all unfolds out of the Gaza Strip. Another development, Miri, I'd love your take on Israel carrying out strikes in Syria overnight in response to that drone attack on a school in the country's southernmost city of Eilat, a well-known and popular resort city. The IDF saying it's targeted the organization that launched the drone, not giving too many details. What do you make of that development overnight?
So first, just for all of us to be clear, Eilat, the lovely resort city, is also the city that is hosting entire communities from the Gaza perimeter.
Who fled the kibbutzim and the mishavim, absolutely.
Exactly. And they were sent there as a safe spot to get away from sirens. And they've had sirens, both the Houthis from Yemen and now unidentified Shiite forces that are based in Syria, could be further, have fired these different unmanned aerial vehicles, the UAVs, towards Eilat, meaning they're trying to get around Israel's defense system. So a few things. One, in addition to that one that arrived and hit in Eilat at a school, in addition to that, there have been many that have been intercepted. What do we know about Shiites inside the different proxy forces in Syria? So when we talk about the northern border, about Hezbollah, Hezbollah is a Lebanese-based, both Iranian proxy and Lebanese, enormous force that sits in Lebanon. But over the last decade, there have been different Shiite proxies. These are Shiite forces that have been trained and established by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard that are based both in Syria and in Lebanon. They're trying right now to get from Iraq into Jordan. I'd say that Jordan is trying to stop them. So we are always looking at them. I'll remind everybody that over the last decade, Israel has done many attacks, according to international media, throughout Syria against these kind of forces. We will continue to do so. Why unidentified? We don't want to leave, not me, but the IDF is continuing to monitor them. Let them be on their toes. They don't have to know everything we know about them. We want to preempt. We want to make sure that they do not manage to do anything like that. And in this sense, we have been very lucky that they did manage to do an attack that came through into a school. And we all still need to be very wary, very aware, and to act upon the instructions of the IDF in that sense, certainly with all the early warnings that we have.
Retired Colonel Miri Eisin, stay with us if you will. We've got more to discuss, but let's follow up on what you've just been explaining. And